Well, good morning to everyone. Bonjour. Ça va? This is Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. And I have a half hour that I will dedicate to French and Spanish. But of course, I've got the first 5 minutes to myself for introductions. And I was just wondering this morning, I thought, I'll continue. It's, in a busy life, finding the time to do what is necessary to keep the spirit alive is important. So we're continuing this morning with the reading of Les femmes parlent trop, women speak too much, and we got to this scene 3. So this is a little play for beginning students of French, and I haven't picked out the words yet, but we can do that as we go along. I'm translating it as I move along. And then with the Spanish, I was looking for something. Actually, I was looking for Don Quixote de la Mancha, but I could not find it. Therefore, I'll need this extra week to do so. And I thought, yeah, okay, we'll continue with the Spanish, but I'll go to a song by Giulio Cinquetti that in Italian is called E qui comando io, and in French is A qui mando io. A qui mando io. Now, I'm noticing that when she sings in Spanish, and with the translation that I have of the original song, some of the words are not there, new words have been put in, but I will try to, after she sings it, I'll try to read it in Spanish, see how we go, and see how we all go with Spanish. Keep up the interest. That's the hard bit, isn't it? It is the hard bit, yes. And let's not forget that I also have 1 hour for Dante Alighieri, 1 for world history, very relevant today with the current situation in Ukraine and Russia. Why, Mr. Putin? Why? There was no need. I always thought that after the fall of the Berlin Wall, the West was going to go east and the East was going to go west. But, resentment over time is no good. It would have been better for Putin to have been invited to, visit France and go to, in other words, for Russia to become part of, of the new world. We need a world of peace. We can't travel anymore. We can't deal with each other. Businesses are closing down. What sort of a war is this? A war of destruction. And then what? The real war is to win the relationships war. In other words, going along with everyone, regardless where they are. Of course, some people are more successful than you, and once upon a time you felt you were very strong. But these wars that we fight now, the old wars, no good. The world is one. Globalization, whether we like it or not, it's true for China, Russia, America, for everyone. We all need to be free, to move around, to do business with each other, to fall in love with people from different cultures. Come on. No war. Stop it. And on that note, I better get back to my French and to the Spanish, because it is an interesting pastime of mine. Now, what can I do about the world and the search for peace? Do we really want peace? You can fight wars, of course you can, but in a peaceful way, through commerce, buying and selling, this and that. That's where it's at. And if we look at what happened in Queensland, all the floods now, 500,000 people, probably 1 million, and it affects everyone. And the media do a fantastic job, and of course they're biased, and of course they select, the stories that they want. And so some people miss out. Some parts of the world that are not in the local interest, they don't get mentioned. Do we blame there's a lot now. Information, we're over-informed about everything, if we want to. Or some people just switch off. And that's the worst part, when people do that. So let's keep ourselves positive. And I say that not just to you, but above all, I say to myself, even when you're feeling a little bit sick, etc., of course, you get a cold here, a cold there, you can overdo it, but life must go on. A lot of people are not here anymore. People of my age, we can all go very quickly. Then you look at what's happening in Ukraine. Well, those bombs don't discriminate. Children, old people, whatever. Anyway, so we got to 11:30. I'm going to have another drink, and then I'll start with Manon and Georges. It's quite a couple, this one. It's an interesting couple. George is a writer. Manon is his wife. Look at the way. Okay, so Manon, remember that, they were fighting at the stage, in the process of making up, like husbands and wives do, the ones who really love each other. They sort of make allowances for their own different characters. Ok, Manon. Allons à la table à droite. Elle m'invite pour un mois, mais je ne sais pas si j'ai pas trop envie de revenir. Tu feras bien attention à la santé, n'est-ce pas, Georges? Et si tu as besoin de quelque chose, tu m'écriras. So we left that she was going she's going for a month's holiday. George replies, mais oui, ne te fais pas de mauvais son, tout ira bien. Il recommence à travailler, Manon prend un vase de fleurs sur la table et sort par la porte de droite. Je n'aime pas qu'on m'explique des choses que je comprends déjà. Il fredonne en tournant les pages. À vrai dire, parlant tout seul pendant qu'il regarde une page, il n'y en a pas d'autre comme Manon. Elle est tout soin pour moi. Mais, tournant la feuille et inscrivant des notes au dos, quelquefois, comme toutes les femmes, elle parle trop. Alors, Manon. Entrant et reposant sur la table le vase contenant des fleurs fraîches. Eh bien, Georges, tout est arrangé. Il y a assez de provisions dans le réfrigérateur pour une semaine. Georges, merci Manon, que tu es gentille. N'y a-t-il pas quelque chose que je puisse faire pour t'aider, toi? Manon, traversant la pièce, se dirigeant vers la porte de gauche. Non, merci, tout est prêt. Ou plutôt, si tu peux appeler le concierge et l'envoyer chercher un taxi. And I'm going to stop there, because she says to him, ring up the concierge, see if there's a taxi for me. I think we'll do this bit, and then we'll continue. This is still the third scene. Okay, Manon. Allons à la table. Going to the table on the right. Allons à la table à droite. So, what is the word? I'm going to write them down. The word here, la table. Let's say la table. That's the word. So it's in the feminine. À droite. À droite. À droite. On the right. On the right. Allons à la table à droite. It's a phrase, common phrase. Elle m'invite pour un mois. She invited me for a month. Un mois. Un mois. That's a month. Mais je ne sais pas. But I don't know. You know, I mean, it could change. That's what she's saying. Mais je ne sais pas. Je ne sais pas. When she's, I don't know, it's ne pas. Ne, dot, 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 pas. And you put a verb there. Je sais, tu sais, etc. You got to do the verbs. We haven't done them yet. We'll get there. Si j'ai pas trop envie de revenir, si j'ai pas trop envie de revenir, if I am, if I don't feel like coming back, if I don't feel like coming back, you will look after yourself. Yeah, tu feras bien attention to your health, à ta santé. So the n'est-ce pas? Is that so, George? You're going to look after yourself? Yes? No? Well, what's your reply? Et si tu as besoin de quelque chose, and if you need something, tu m'écriras. You will write to me. M'écriras. That's the future tense. Now, do I know them like in Italian? I haven't revised them. Je m'écrirai. Tu m'écriras, tu écriras, j'écrirai, tu écriras, il écrira, etc. The future tense. We've got to do this together. Okay. So that's basically, that's it. Elle m'invite pour un mois, mais je ne sais pas si j'ai pas trop envie de revenir. Tu feras bien attention à ta santé, n'est-ce pas, Georges? Et si tu as besoin de quelque chose, tu m'écriras. Today, you know, I'm doing this for myself, which is very good. Georges, mais oui, but of course, ne te fais pas de mauvais sang. Don't, you know, have bad blood because of this. Don't worry about it. Tu iras bien. Go well, you know, do whatever you have to do. And so, George, il recommence à travailler. He begins again to work. He loves to work on his papers. Manon prend, like me, I love to do this, even if there's nobody around, because I do that for me. I enjoy it. Why not? Manon, and that's what you should do too. Manon prend un vase de fleurs sur la table et sort par la porte de droite. So, Manon gets a vase full of flowers on the table and goes out from the door, la porte de droite, la porte de droite, la porte de droite. So what did we have there before? À droite, on the right, but this la droite, the one on the right. Okay. That's George. No, ne fais pas tes mauvais. Il recommence à travailler. Manon takes the Manon takes the vase of flowers on the table and begins and goes out on the right. And then George continues. Je n'aime pas qu'on m'explique des choses que je comprends déjà. So, I don't like when people, I don't know, have I got, the light is not there, maybe it's here. Okay, doesn't matter. Alors, let's continue. Je n'aime pas qu'on m'explique des choses que je comprends déjà. I don't like when people, je n'aime pas, I don't love. Je n'aime, aimer is to love. Qu'on m'explique, that one explains to me some things, des choses que je dire, some things that, that I say. I know already. Why do you tell me? But isn't that what wives do to husbands and vice versa? I think it's more wives that do this. Parlant tout seul pendant qu'il regarde une page. He's speaking to himself whilst he's looking at another page. So he turns the page, he's working. Il n'y en a pas d'autres comme Manon. Oh, but then he reflects, what would I do without her? There aren't many others like, like Manon, like my Manon. Where am I going to find another one like her? Huh? Elle est tout soin pour moi. She cares for me, she looks after me. That's what every man's dream is about. A woman looking after him in everything. But then it gets too much. You want some freedom. Liberate yourself. And that's where the balance comes in. Okay. Elle est tout soin. Soins, S-O-I-N-S. So the words, developing words, knowledge is important. Welcome to John Leonard. Oh, he's watching. Elle est tout soin pour moi, mais tournant la feuille et inscrivant des notes au dos. So she turns the page, he turns the page and writes some notes on top of the page. Quelquefois, sometimes, comme toutes les femmes, and he reflects, like all women, elle parle trop. She talks too much. That's the book here. Anyone wants to follow? I've got the book downstairs, John. So you can follow the actual play. It's a beautiful play. And, well, that's it. That's George. Then Manon comes in, entrant et reposant sur la table le vase contenant des fleurs fraîches. So she took the vase full of flowers, old ones, and she comes back with a new, the vase full of fresh flowers. She's leaving. She wants to leave him a big, she wants him to have the best. Oh, you're going to miss me, so here's fresh flowers. Don't forget, in a week's time, change them. He's not going to do that, of course. They'll be there when she comes back. Eh bien, Georges, tout est arrangé. George, everything, I'm ready, everything is arranged. Il y a assez de provisions. We have enough provisions in the fridge, dans le réfrigérateur, pour une semaine, for a week. You can't go more than a week. Then you got to do. She's going to be away for a month. He's going to be living on his own for 3 weeks. Can you imagine that? He's going to go shopping, clean the dishes, cook. What a disaster for him. All he wants to do is write, play with the computer. Cut to the file. No, this guy here is one of my mob. He needs a table and that's it. And, George says, merci, Manon. Thank you, Manon. Que tu es gentil. You're so gentle, so nice. N'y a-t-il pas, isn't there something? N'y a-t-il pas? N'y a-t-il pas? That's a nice phrase. N'y a-t-il pas quelque chose, something, que je puisse, that I could faire, do, pour t'aider, to help you, toi. You, not me. Forget about me now. Let's talk about you, Mother. Because he's irritated by her cares. But he loves it. He can't do without it. But not going to admit it to her. Manon, traversant la pièce, se dirigeant vers la porte de gauche. So, traversant la pièce. Presumably, she goes across the room. La pièce, the space in front of her. Tout est prêt, everything is ready, ou plutôt, or better, si, yes, you could call, tu peux appeler le concierge. The concierge is the same, the guy, the hotel helper. Tu peux appeler le concierge et l'envoyer and send him chercher and let him go outside to call a taxi. Chercher, to look for a taxi. They're not going to bring this old-fashioned here. That's when, you didn't use your, this thing here. You didn't use this. You had to do everything slowly. So that's where we are. And what's the time? It's 11:44. Oh, well, I've got a bit more. I could go on a bit more with this. All right, I'll read it first. Bien. Il se lève et va au téléphone. Allô, allô? On ne répond pas. C'est occupé, j'attendrai. Manon, près du bureau à gauche, c'est un enfant, mais un enfant adorable. Voix à droite, oui, oui, il est maintenant très énervé, de sorte qu'il pense que c'est moi qui suis la cause de tous ses ennuis. Voix, très bien. Eh bien, je lui donne des vacances. Autrement, je n'aurais jamais pu le quitter. Elle sort à gauche, voit dans 5 minutes. Très bien. Okay. Manon, crossing there. No, and she sends him to get the taxi. George says, bien, okay. Il se lève, he gets up and goes to the telephone. Il se lève et va au téléphone. Allô, on ne répond pas, c'est occupé, j'attendrai. Now, I haven't done this today. I haven't done this because concentrating. This is it here. I'm sorry if you don't have it in front of you, but really I recommend that anyone who wants to follow these lessons must get this book for the next few weeks anyway. Okay? Back again. All right. And bien, on ne répond pas, c'est occupé, j'attendrai. You can't get the phone, you can't get the concierge. Manon, près du bureau à gauche, close to the office on the left, she's gone out. And she's talking to the audience now. C'est un enfant. Oh, he's such a child, but an adorable child. Voix à droite, voice on the right. Oui, 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 oui. So obviously the phone, he was able to get the concierge on the phone. Il est maintenant très, oh, he's so nervous at the moment, de sorte qu'il pense, he might be thinking that this is me, that I am the cause of all his irritations, des ennuis, irritations. Voilà, très bien. This is on the other side, yes. Eh bien. So she hears him having done the job. Eh bien, oh well. Je lui donne, I'll give him some holidays. By me going on holiday, I'll give him holidays. Isn't it what happens? When she goes away, you get a holiday. Except you don't get a holiday, you've got things to look after. But if you only had your work, it would be a holiday. Autrement, otherwise, je n'aurais jamais pu le quitter. Otherwise, I could never leave him. I could never leave him if I didn't give him these holidays. She's all heart. She goes on holidays, but she does it. She comes on top all the time. I could never leave him. Elle sort à gauche, she goes out on the left. Voix, the voice, dans 5 minutes. Très bien. In 5 minutes, the taxi can arrive. Très bien. Okay. I have to stop the 11:47. I'm going to give myself 13 minutes now, 12 minutes to go to Spanish. Here it is. Now, I've never done Spanish before. Okay? So, let's have a look how I manage this Spanish. Let's have a look. Yes, I think I've got it all ready. Okay, here we go. Come on. This in the background, right? Estas tareas que me haces hacer.
Soy aquí quien manda, porque esta casa es mía, y es preciso que yo sepa, y es preciso que yo sepa, yo soy aquí quien manda, porque esta casa es mía, y es preciso que yo sepa quién viene y quién va.
Debes pagar las con sangre y dolor, hasta que salga la luna, debes pagarlas con sangre y dolor, hasta la luna que cambia color.
Yo soy aquí quien manda, porque esta casa es mía y es preciso que yo sepa, y es
I have to
preciso
stop
que
it
yo
there.
sepa. Yo soy aquí quien manda, porque
That's it. Now, that was the song. E qui comando io, aquí mando yo. Estas tareas que me haces hacer. Querida Rosina, estas tareas que me haces hacer, querida Rosina, las debes pagar. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiero saber, Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiero saber quién viene y quién va. Debes pagarlas con sangre y dolor hasta que salga la luna, hasta que salga la luna. Debes pagarlas con sangre y dolor hasta que la luna cambie de color. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiero saber, cada día quiere saber. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiero saber quién viene y quién va. Cuando a la luna le cambian los colores, ven que es la hora. Ven que es la hora. Yeah, I've got distracted because I got a phone call. Cuando a la luna le cambian los colores, ven que es la hora de hacer el amor. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiere saber, cada día quiere saber. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiere saber quién viene y quién va. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiero saber, cada día quiere saber. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiere saber quién viene y quién va. Now, of course, I made a lot of mistakes there. But it was fun listening to the song. And also realizing that Di Lola Cinquetti didn't actually read everything that was written in my translation. So she, had, she can do whatever she wants when she's performing. And if she has to follow the music, and the music requires a change, then she does it. But I don't have to, because I can sing like this. Estas tareas que me haces hacer, querida Rosina, estas tareas que me haces hacer, querida Rosina, las debes pagar. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiero saber, cada día quiero saber. Y aquí mando yo, y esta es mi casa. Cada día quiero saber quién viene y quién va. Well, now let's change a bit of an activity here, because what can we do with this? What can we do with these words? Well, you can start, because I know it in Italian. Esta tres. Qui comando. I don't remember the words now. I should get the Italian words, actually, so that I'll be able to. I'll be able to. Well, you can look at this whilst I'm searching. No, I still haven't found it. One of these days, here we go. E qui comando io. Where's qui comando io? Well, not in here. What can I say? What can I say? There must be somewhere else. Song 2. Oh, there it is. Has to be here. No? Yes, maybe. Are you looking at the Spanish? Are you reading it? E qui comando io, e qui comando io. When do I come? E qui comando io, e questa è casa mia. Come on, Tom, you got to find it. Well, not successful. Doesn't matter. What's important is that you get the gist of what I've done today. So what have I done today? I've picked up my my phone, and I went to our friend, everyone's friend, YouTube. There we go.
La casa es mía y es preciso que yo sepa quién viene y quién va. Cuando la
Luna le cambian los colores, viene la hora, viene la hora, cuando la luna le cambian los colores, viene la luna que fa el amor.
yo soy aquí quien manda, porque esta casa es mía y es preciso que yo sepa, y es preciso que yo sepa. Yo soy aquí quien manda, porque esta casa es mía y es preciso que yo sepa quién viene y quién va. Yo soy aquí quien manda, porque esta casa es mía y es preciso que yo sepa, y es preciso que yo sepa. Yo soy aquí quien manda, porque esta casa es mía y es preciso que yo sepa quién viene y quién va.
That's it. Now, we also said today, as I said, I went downstairs to find a book for Spanish, and I found this one here, El Cid. I've got a lot of copies of El Cid, but it's not a play. This is an adaptation in prose for intermediate students, and it's the preface of the book says Rodriguez here. Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, El Cid, is the national hero of Spain. I'll read it. Okay, let me see if I can do. I've got to be able to see the actual writing. Okay. Spanish literary treasure, El Cantar de Mio Cid. El Cid has captured the imagination of readers for centuries and has given rise to books, plays and movies. This volume recreates the flavour of the great epic poem for intermediate Spanish classroom, rewritten in simple modern Spanish prose, etc., etc. So it's good for schools. And to do this with adults would be just wonderful. Because, here, El Cid, okay, I'll read. I mean, I have to, you can see me. El Cid is the first great work of Spanish literature. In contrast with other European epic poems, the book presents a real man, not greatly idealized and in no way aided by supernatural beings. El Cid moves among people, most of whom existed, and whose deeds in everyday life are, with few exceptions, rigorously historical. The poem was retold from memory until it was first written down about 1140. That's the 12th century. El Cid died in 1099, in the 1st century, in the 11th century, 1099. Therefore, it describes realistically a man who had died only some 40 years before. The geography in the book is exact. Today, one can follow the trails used by El Cid, which were originally built by the Romans. There are towns which have disappeared since, of course. There are 3 parts or cantos to the poem del Cid. you know, these cantos, you know. Dante has it, El Cid has got it, Tom Padula's got the canto, in Le Avventure di Curiosin. It's good, isn't it? Fantastic stuff. Okay, so there are towns which have disappeared since, of course. There are three parts of canto to the Poema del Cid. In the first, Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, called Cid by the Moors. Sidi means my lord in Arabic. Don't forget, at the time Spain was had been invaded by the Moors. Oh, well, thank you very much for calling. And Maria, I've done the French, but I'm doing the Spanish at the moment. I'm talking about El Cid before I leave. El Cid is a story based in Spain. It's a classic from the 11th and 12th century. So when the Crusades, you know, when the big Islamic movement occurred, and they went up to the Pyrenees just before France, and there are more poems written about this time. It's a very interesting part of history, the early part. You know, the Crusades, they capture people's imagination, because it was, you know, an old established religion like the Christianity that had, had been there since since the birth of Christ. But it took 300 years for them 350 years for Christianity to become the state religion of the Romans. And then by the 11th century, we got 700 years. And Muhammad was born in the 8th century, and therefore the big push for Islam was around the 9th century, because the Christianity had become very strong, you know, materially, politically, everything. Therefore, they weren't looking after the people from on top down. They had armies, you know, people were expendable. And so there was a nobility, and then there were the servants. No, not much middle class. You were either it or you weren't. And that's what, all these 1,000 years have been about. So we've got to understand the current conflict in the context of these past historical events. Okay, on that note, it's 12:01. I've done enough. Thank you very much for John, Colleen and Maria for coming on. But of course, this now gets put on my online work, and it goes across 4 different sites. So it's good. Okay? On this note, au revoir, adios, à la semaine prochaine. To next week, same time. Yeah, I'm starting to like these Fridays. It's only half an hour, not too heavy on me, and I enjoy it, really. I enjoy doing the French. Come and do the play. Maybe we could put this play on ourselves. Who knows? Ciao, au revoir. Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and the Insegna booksellers. And I've got these books here. El Cid, Les Femmes Partout. Come, if you're interested, organize yourself. Learn, I'm revising the French and learning the Spanish. Let's do it together. Ciao, ciao. Don't forget, the 20th of March, Federazione Lucana. Sunday, 20th, from 3:30 till 5 o'clock. Maria, let your friends know. Grazie. Ciao, ciao.